Okay, let's dive into this fascinating argument. It's both a love letter to capitalism and a pretty serious reckoning with its consequences. We're going to explore this idea of a hidden, almost mechanical flaw in our economic system and a surprisingly common sense way to fix it.
So the whole thing kicks off with this really powerful paradox. The modern market economy is, without a doubt, this incredible engine for human progress. It's lifted billions from poverty, it's fueled incredible innovation, and yet, at the exact same time, it can cause immense, immense damage. So what's really going on here?
And this is what sets up our central mystery. The argument here isn't that business leaders are villains, twirling their mustaches. No, it suggests that maybe we're looking at a structural blind spot, a flaw not in the people, but in the machine itself.
So first, let's really get our heads around this two-sided nature of the modern market. The Manifesto is super clear that we have to appreciate all the good it does before we can even begin to diagnose the bad.
I mean, it's just impossible to deny the upside, right? This economic engine is an extraordinary human achievement. It coordinates total strangers across the globe, and it moves resources with a kind of precision no central planner could ever dream of. This is, for sure, a powerful force for good.
Okay, so if the engine is so powerful, where does all the harm come from? Well, the argument is that it's a problem of signals, of crucial information that the engine, for whatever reason, simply cannot see.
Think of a business like an engine. It runs on inputs, right? Capital, labor, materials, and its behavior is guided pretty much entirely by price signals. And where do those signals get recorded? In the transaction ledger, the accounting books. Now, this ledger isn't just a record, it's the actual steering mechanism.
And this is the absolute crucial point. The ledger is the engine's entire reality. Things like industrial pollution or public health crises or social fragmentation, what economists call externalities, they often don't show up in the books. And if a cost isn't on the ledger, then for the engine, it just doesn't exist. Now, what's really fascinating here is the power of that number. Zero isn't neutral. It's not just a placeholder. It is a direct instruction to the economic engine. It says, ignore this cost completely. Proceed as if there is literally no harm being done.
To make this idea less abstract, the Manifesto uses this brilliant little thought experiment it calls the typesetter's parable. It really helps explain how this zero instruction became the default setting for our entire economy.
So imagine this. The founders of economics knew that some harms could be huge, maybe even infinite. But when it came time to print their big book, the typesetter couldn't find an infinity symbol. So it's late in the day, he's tired, and he just uses a zero instead. What could possibly go wrong? Well, that single tiny little typo, once you scale it up over centuries of global commerce, it fundamentally changed the operating logic of business. The old world, common sense idea of if you break it, you bought it, slowly but surely morphed into the modern mantra of move fast and break things. Why? Because the things being broken carried a price tag of zero. But of course, these zero-cost harms, they don't stay invisible forever. Eventually, society feels the pain, and it starts to create feedback loops, through courts, regulators, and public pressure to force those costs back onto the company's ledger.
And this is a really fascinating trend. The time it takes for society to react and hold industries accountable, well, it's getting shorter and shorter. For industrial emissions, it took about a century. For tobacco, it was decades. The opioid crisis, a generation. Social media, barely a decade. These feedback loops are tightening up fast.
But here's the problem. This entire process is reactive. We are always pricing the damage after it has already scaled into a massive crisis. Tobacco litigation didn't prevent decades of disease. Opioid settlements didn't undo the addiction crisis. It's like we're always closing the barn door way after the horse is bolted. So, if the flaw is built into the architecture, the Manifesto argues, then the solution needs to be architectural too. It's not about adding more and more reactive rules after the fact, but about fixing the engine's steering mechanism from the very start.
And the proposed solution is a pretty simple but powerful idea, a future cost ledger. This is basically a new requirement for big companies to make a good faith estimate of the significant, foreseeable harms their business might create, and to put that estimate right there in their financial architecture. Now, this isn't some kind of moral theater. It's a proposal for rigorous, disciplined governance. These estimates would need the board to sign off on them. They need to be reviewed by a third party. The whole idea is to stop foreseeable risks from just defaulting to zero, forcing companies to actually acknowledge the momentum of a harm before it becomes a catastrophe.
And this is a key takeaway.
Maybe the most brilliant part of the whole argument. This isn't asking businesses to do something they don't know how to do. Pricing risk and estimating outcomes when you're not sure what's going to happen, that is what they do every single day. It's their core competence.
I mean, businesses are already experts at pricing upside. They build models, they stress test scenarios, they discount future cash flows. The argument here is that we just need to apply this exact same skill to the harms that currently fall outside the traditional ledger. You know, the ones that are conveniently labeled external.
And this brings us right back to the heart of the issue. This isn't some attack on capitalism. It's an argument for making it stronger. The engine works incredibly well. The real question is, are we feeding it complete and accurate information? Right now, the answer is no.
And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. We built this economic architecture. We're the ones who calibrated its incentives. This blind spot isn't a law of nature. It's a choice, a typo that we've just allowed to scale. And if zero is just an instruction that we created, well, then we have the ability to revise it. We can recalibrate our own economic engine for a much more responsible and a much more durable future.